now he lives with us. So back to you and Ian.
Wait, what?
I've always wanted to see what the subway's like. So that's what a subway's like. Does it always smell like that?
The second season of How I Met Your Father is here, and it is an upsized version of the first. In fact, it's a complete double. So I'm gonna do a quick recap of a few events you need to recall before watching the second season. Starting with Sid's engagement party was very important. So let's take it back right to the beginning of the series. We saw Sophie and her roommate Valentina, who had just brought home her new boyfriend, Charlie, from England. Sophie was also headed out for a first date with a marine biologist called Ian. On her ride to the date, she meets Jesse and Sid, and they all end up going to Sid's surprise engagement with Hannah. Later in the show, we found that the father of Sophie's son is actually one of the guys she met that night, which basically means that it's either Jesse, Sid, Charlie, or Ian. In fact, it could even be Drew, who she dated throughout the season, who was also there that night. But it's also completely possible that we'll meet another person from that night who might be introduced in season 2. So right now, there's a short list of at least 5 guys who could be the mystery father. This season is also going to be much longer than the last, so the plot could get a lot more complex.
I think White Dove's gonna pop way more than Moonlight White.
Yeah, this'll definitely be what packs him into your bar. Everyone's gonna be like, hey, you gotta check out Pemberton's. The upper walls are crisp AF.
The first season has 10 episodes, while the second one has 20 episodes. But Valentina's romance might be just as important to the plot. Charlie and Valentina's romance ending also gives some insight into where this is all headed. At London Fashion Week, Valentina met Charlie, a wealthy, aspiring model, and they fell in love. Charlie followed her to New York, but his family cut him off, so he had to adapt to life there. This caused some strain in their relationship, as Valentina felt he was too clingy. Later, Charlie moved in with Ellen, but continued dating Valentina. But the fashion-forward couple soon realized they had conflicting views on having children. Valentina wanted kids, but Charlie did not, leading to their breakup in the season 1 finale. Now, why is this important in the grand scheme of things? Well, given the fact that Charlie is one of the guys that Sophia met on the night of the engagement, he could well be the father. Also, the breakup means that he's now sort of free and available for Sophie. But it's complicated, because how awful would it be that Charlie breaks up with Valentina because he doesn't want kids, and then has a kid with her best friend? Ouch! There was more relationship drama between Sid and Hannah. That's the couple that eloped after struggling with distance and wedding expenses. Sid and Hannah, who recently got engaged, are already facing relationship problems. Hannah is a surgical resident in Los Angeles, while Sid runs a bar in New York. Their relationship is also a little bit of a throwback to Lily and Marshall's storyline in How I Met Your Mother. Sid even lives in Ted and Marshall's old apartment. Hannah offered a 1-year extension for a fellowship in California, causing added stress to their long-distance relationship. With 2 separate living arrangements in different states and scarce time together, the extra year is challenging. And then there's the estimated costs of their dual weddings, one at home and one big fat Indian wedding from the wedding planner only adds to the pressure. Hannah is worried about just how much money Sid is putting into the bar. They do end up eloping in the finale, but there's still a big question mark over how their relationship will pan out. Because sure, they don't have to worry about the cost and scale of the wedding after they elope and get married at the local courthouse, but there's more to marriage. And I do keep thinking about whether it's eventually going to be Sid and Sophie. But there is another couple that might just be getting back on track. Jesse's ex, Meredith, asked him to go on tour with her. This really came as a shocker to me. I mean, he had already professed for Sophie, and here he is still preparing to go on tour with his ex? Not cool. At the beginning of the season, we were told that Jesse's former bandmate roommate, Meredith, played by Leighton Meester, had shattered his heart by rejecting his marriage proposal. The incident became viral on social media, but after some time, Jesse started to heal from the heartbreak. That is, until Meredith arrived in New York. Turns out she wrote a popular song called J Street, which was actually about Jesse, and she was basically expressing her regret over turning down Jesse's proposal. Now, Meredith is back in town with a request for Jesse to join her on a tour. It could be a work thing, but could it really be when the two of them have that kind of history between them? And it's even weirder given what happened after Jesse and Sophie hooked up. Jesse said, "I love you" to Sophie. Sure, it was in his sleep, but it was enough to freak Sophie out. Besides, the chemistry between the two has been pretty undeniable from the start. There was no doubt about it from the beginning that there was something brewing between the two. Despite Sophie dating Drew and Jesse still harboring feelings for Meredith, they finally shared a kiss in episode 8. Sophie ended her relationship with Drew to give Jesse a chance, and their hookup was celebrated by fans of the show. But their relationship was short-lived. When Jesse unconsciously muttered "I love you" in his sleep, it frightened Sophie. She told Jesse to go on tour with Meredith, but after receiving encouragement from Robin Scherbatsky of How I Met Your Mother, Sophie changed her mind and raced back to Jesse's apartment. Sadly, she found Jesse and Meredith kissing, suggesting that Jesse might be considering the tour offer. Silly move, Sophie. There was no reason to freak out over what the poor guy muttered in his sleep. Another character also had a life event to report for by the end of the season. Ellen got a new job and a date. Jesse's sister Ellen returns to New York from Iowa after a divorce from her wife, and she's looking forward to reconnecting with her brother, from whom she was separated when their parents got divorced. Ellen is struggling to adapt to a big city, and after moving into her place, she meets Rachel. And after a couple of mishaps, she finally gets another chance at it when she finds Rachel's cat. By the time the first season ends, they have a date planned, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing how this romance develops. She also got a job as a produce buyer at Goliath Market's corporate office. Hopefully, that's a connection to How I Met Your Mother's Goliath National Bank and will lead to a Barney Stinson cameo. And then there was the return of the marine biologist. Ian returned to New York in the season finale. Ian left for Australia for a job after his date with Sophie, and they agreed to end things. He was out of sight until the finale, where he shocked Sophie at an art gallery. It turned out Ian was working on a boat owned by the captain and Becky from the original show. Becky divorced the captain after catching him cheating, seizing and sinking his boats in the process. As a result, Ian lost his job and returned to New York. There is a high probability that Ian and Sophie will rekindle their romance in season 2. The second season of the show is now streaming on Hulu. See you guys in the next video.